Good morning, everyone. This is Kunale. Today we are going to read about the fundamental rights and duties. Let's start. List the fundamental rights enshrined in the Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. Originally, there are 7 fundamental rights enshrined in the Part 3 of the Indian Constitution. These included the right to property, which was removed from the list of fundamental rights by the 44th Constitutional Amendment. Now there are only 6 fundamental rights. These are: first, right to equality; second, right to freedom; third, cultural and educational rights; fourth, right to freedom of religion; fifth, right against exploitation; sixth, right to constitutional remedies. Question 2. Mention one restriction which imposed on any 4 freedoms given under the right to freedom. Answer. Although the framers of the Indian Constitution supported the various forms of freedom, they imposed certain reasonable restrictions so that freedoms may not lead to anarchy, disorder, or even disintegration of the country. First, the freedom under Article 19B, that is, freedom to assemble peacefully and without arms, is subject to 2 reasonable restrictions. It suggests that meeting, rallies, and procession should be peaceful and the participants should not carry any weapon. Second, the freedom under Article 19C, freedom to form associations or unions is essential for democracy, that the illegal or the conspirational associations may impact the integrity and sovereignty of the country in a way. Thus, the state can disallow such formations. Third, the freedom under Article 19D and E, that is, freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. Article 19D. Freedom to reside and settle in any part of the India. Article 19E. Are also subject to the authority of the state to impose certain reasonable restrictions. First, in the interest of the general public. Second, for the protection of the scheduled tribes. Third, to prevent spread of infectious diseases. Fourth, the freedom to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade, or business under Article 19G does not mean the freedom to take up jobs or trading which are certainly injurious to the society with such that gambling, trading drugs, etc. are not permitted. Next question. What is the importance of fundamental rights? The Part 3 of the Indian Constitution gives a detailed description on a chapter of rights called the Fundamental Rights. These fundamental rights guarantee civil freedom to all the citizens of India to allow them to live in peace and harmony. These are the basic rights that every Indian citizen has the right to enjoy, irrespective of their caste, creed, and religion, place of birth, race, color, or gender. These fundamental rights include right to equality, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right against exploitation, right to constitutional remedies, etc. Anyone guilty on the compliance to such fundamental rights will be punished as mentioned in the Indian Penal Code. Subject to the verdict of the judiciary, fundamental rights for Indian aim at narrowing down the inequalities of pre-independence social practices, especially the abolition of untouchability. They also guarantee the protection of cultural and the educational rights of some religious minorities by granting them the liberty to converse their languages and educational institutions. Explain the right to equality. How far has it succeeded in bringing about equality and unity in the country? Right to equality means equality before law, ruling out any prejudice on the basis of race, religion, caste, creed, gender, or place of birth. This right also means an equality of opportunity with respect to employment, abolition of untouchability, and also abolition of titles. Right to equality is, in simple words, is the right to live with equal opportunities. It simply treats all people to be same and nobody can get a special privilege which will dishonor any individual or group. With right to equality, a person group can have social equality, access any public area, equality in matters of public employment. The right of equality is justiciable, not but not absolute. The progress made in the decades for the upliftment of the downtrodden and women, socially, economical, and educationally, is impressive. But it has not yet reached the levels of satisfaction. New laws are to be promulgated, taking into account the progress, the pitfalls, and the failures. The legislature and the judiciary should work in cooperation for the benefit of the entire population rather than for a particular group. Hopefully, the changes that are being brought since the beginning of this decade will continue and will give an impetus to the efforts towards social justice and equal opportunities for all, and the realization of the Vedic goal of Vasudev Kutumbakam. Under what circumstances can the fundamental rights be suspended? How far is the suspension of the fundamental rights justified? Answer: the Constitution of India guarantees several fundamental rights to the citizen of India. These rights help the individual to lead a life of welfare and dignity. However, in certain cases, these fundamental rights can be suspended. These cases are explained as follows. First, when the President makes a proclamation of emergency under Article 352, all six rights to freedom guaranteed under Section 19 are automatically suspended. During the proclamation of emergency, no law or executive order issued by a state can be challenged on the ground that is innocent with the right guaranteed by Article 19. The President can suspend other fundamental rights also through specific orders, but these orders must be approved by the Parliament. It may be observed that such orders of the President may extend to the whole or any part of the territory of India. Emergency situations also democratic governments in a real dilemma by bringing about a conflict between its primary obligation to protect the integrity of the state and its equally important obligation to protect the human rights of its citizens and the other persons within its jurisdiction. The state is forced into a choice between competing values and the sacrifice of one of the other. This is the rationale of emergency provisions, which find place in many national constitutions permitting the suspension of the guaranteed fundamental rights. At the same time, it is also recognized that there are certain basic human rights which cannot be suspended during any kind of emergency, be it war or armed rebellion or civil insurrection. These rights are so basic that to suspend them destroys the basis of the civilized state and the rule of law. Indeed, they are so fundamental to the human personality that without these human life is neither not possible. Protection of the right to life or civilized life becomes impossible and meaningless. Example: freedom from the torture or cruel treatment, right to fair trial. These rights represent a core of essential human values. Thank you and thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Om Shanti, and kindly subscribe to this channel. Thank you.